Hey folks, in this episode I'm going to show you how to make this motion graphics audio visualizer in Geometry Nodes. This should be a fairly simple tutorial, so without further ado, let's get to it. I'll just give you a brief concept overview. So this is the material, fairly straightforward, nothing too complicated. This is the Geometry Node section, and for our 3D scene, essentially it's lots of plates instanced around a curved circle, and then the rotation is offset. We then drive that rotation with audio data over here. And so if I hit play, you can see that they're rotating. And if we go into top view, due to the layer weights, it gives us this effect here. We can change the style by adjusting this value here. Or we can drive that value with the audio data. So if I set this to 0.5, for example, I'll then hit play. You can see that the pattern's changing. I'll just disconnect that. I'm going to set this back to 0.6. Now that you've seen the concept, let's get cracking. So open up Blender. I'm going to be using the Node Wrangler for this tutorial. If you don't know how to install the Node Wrangler, I'll leave a link in the description to a tutorial where I'll show you how. So with your default cube selected, I'm going to change this window from the shader editor to the geometry node editor. I'll then click new. I'll then rename the geometry node to level up. I'm going to delete the group input, hit Shift A and search for curved circle, and we'll pop that there. Shift A, search for instance on points, and we'll pop that there. I'll then connect the instance on points to the group output. I'll connect the curved circle to the point socket on the instance on points. I'm going to set the curve radius to 10 meters. We'll then hit Shift A and we'll search for cube, and we'll pop that down here. I'll then connect the mesh socket from the cube node into the instance socket on the instance on points. And now you can see that we've got all of these cubes instanced on all the points of the curved circle. I'm going to increase the resolution of the curved circle to 64, and that will give us 64 cubes. On the cube node, I'm going to set the X scale to 0.25. I'm going to set the Y scale to 10 and the Z scale to 10. As you can see, they're all pointing in the same direction. So we want to rotate these plates so they're all pointing outward. That's easy enough. So I hit Shift A, search for align rotation to vector, and we'll pop that there. Shift A and we'll search for normal, and we'll pop that there. I'm going to connect the normal socket into the vector socket of the align rotation to vector. I'll then connect the rotation socket from the align rotation to vector into the rotation socket of the instance on points. Now they're a bit skew width, so we'll probably have to change the axes. For me, the align rotation to vector works on the Y axis. I'll just drag this node down. Maybe I'll give us a bit more room. Next up, we need to rotate these plates so they're all rotating inwards or outwards. That's easy enough. Hit Shift A and search for rotate instances, and we'll pop that in between the instance on points and the group output. Ensure that you've got local space enabled. I'll then hit Shift A, search for combine XYZ, and we'll pop that down there. We'll then connect the vector socket from the combine XYZ into the rotation socket of the rotate instances. And now if I manipulate this X value, you can see that all the plates are rotating inwards or outwards depending on which direction we go. Now we don't want them all to rotate at the same time, so we need a way of telling geometry nodes to treat each of these plates as individual plates rather than as a group of plates. Luckily for us, we've got a node for that, so I hit Shift A and search for index. The index node gives each of these instances a unique index number, aka an ID number. So we can now tell Blender to treat each of these plates as a unique instance. Hit Shift A and search for maths, and we'll pop that there. I'll change it from add to multiply. I'll then connect the index socket into the top socket of the multiply node. I'll then connect the value socket from the multiply node into the X socket of the combine XYZ. And now we've got a random rotation for each of these plates. We can manipulate this value here to give us different results. I'm going to set mine to 0.6. I'll just box select these two nodes. I'm going to hit G, just bring them across over to here, give us a bit of breathing space. I'll then take this multiply node. I'm going to hit Shift D to duplicate, and I'll pop that there. I'll change it from multiply to add. And now if we increase or decrease this value here, you can see that each of the plates are rotating along their local X axes. I'm just going to set this to 0.5 for now. Navigate to my materials tab over here. I'm just going to ensure that I've got a material assigned to the object. I'll then rename this material to ULegend. I'll then go to my geometry nodes window. We'll hit Shift A and search for set material, and we'll pop that in between there, and I'll select that ULegend material right there. Hit Shift A and search for store named attribute, and we'll pop that in between the rotate instances and the set material. The attribute I want to save will be from this math node set to add, and I'll pop that into the value socket of the store named attribute. I'm going to hold down shift, right click and drag through that noodle to add a reroute node. I'll just hit G and bring this across down to here. That's just so we can see where it's going. I now need to give that attribute a name, so in this box here I'm going to name my attribute to Stay Sharp. You can name your attribute to whatever you want, but take into consideration that this value is going to drive the hue, so you might want to name it hue or color change or something similar. I'll just navigate to my output settings over here. Ensure that your frame rate is set to 30 frames per second. We now need to bring in the audio into Blender. I'm going to be using my own beat, Escape Break Drums Snippets Clean 180 BPM. I'll leave a link to this drum loop sample pack where you can download it for free. Alternatively, you can use your own music, you just need to know the BPM. We need to calculate how many frames per beat we get so we can calculate what our end frame will be. And there's an easy formula for that. We take our frame rate over here, which is 30 frames per second. We then multiply that by 60 because there's 60 seconds in a minute. We then divide that by our BPM, which is 180 BPM. And that should give us 10 frames per beat. My beat is 4 beats over 4 bars, which is 16. So 10 times 16 gives us 160. And I want my animation to repeat twice. So 160 times 2 gives us 320. So I'm going to set my end frame to 320. In my 3D viewport, I'm going to hit Shift A, I'm going to go empty, and I'm going to add a single arrow. I'll then navigate to my empty data tab over here, and I'm going to increase the size to 15 meters. And that's just so we can see it in the viewport. I'll then go to my object data tab over here. I'm going to ensure that I'm on frame 1 on my timeline, and on my Z location transform set to 0, I'm going to add a keyframe here. In my outliner, I'm going to rename the empty object to LFAdd for low frequency add. I'll then navigate to the geometry nodes window. I'm going to change it from geometry nodes to graph editor. I'll expand the empty action. I'll expand the object transform, and I'll select the Z location keyframe there. I'll then navigate to channel, and I'll select sound to samples. Navigate and select your audio track. Again, I'm using Escape Break Drums Snippets Clean 180 BPM. And now we just need to put in the frequency range which we want to capture. I want to filter out the low frequencies, so I'm going to choose a frequency range between 20 and 80 Hz. So in this window, for the lowest frequency range, I'm going to type in 20, and the highest frequency range, I'm going to type in 80. I'll then enable Accumulate. Click Sound to Samples. I'm going to change this window from the graph editor back to the geometry node editor. I'll then select the geometry nodes object, and in this add node here I'm going to add a driver. So I'm going to set this to hash frame divide by 60. If I hit play, you can see that the driver is rotating each of these plates along their local x-axes. Excellent. So now we just need to bring in that low frequency audio data into geometry nodes. I'll navigate to my outliner, and I'm going to drag that LFAdd into the geometry nodes. Hit Shift A and search for Separate XYZ, and we'll pop that there. We'll then connect the location socket from the object info into the vector socket of the Separate XYZ, and now we've got access to that Z location data. I'll just box select these 3 nodes here. I'll hit G, bring them across over to here. I'm going to hold down Shift, right click and drag, and that will create a reroute node. I'll just hit G, bring this over to here. I'm going to select this multiply node. I'm going to hit Shift D to duplicate, and I'll pop that there. I'll then change it from multiply to add. I'll just set this value to 0.6. I'll then hit Shift D to duplicate, and I'll pop this down here. I'll then connect the Z socket from the Separate XYZ into the top socket of this math node. I'll then connect the value socket from this math node into the bottom socket of this math node. I'm going to change this one from add to multiply. If I was to hit play, we wouldn't hear the audio. So let's just add the audio now. So I'll hit Shift A. I'll then add a speaker. I'll navigate to my audio tab over here. I'm going to click open. Navigate and select your audio track. Again, I'm using Escape Break Drums Snippets Clean 180 BPM. I'll then click Open Sound Mono. The volume of the audio is relative to the distance of the speaker to the camera. So I'm going to set my camera up and pin my speaker to the camera. So in the 3D viewport, I'm going to hit numpad 7, numpad period. I'll then hit Control Alt numpad 0, and that will align my camera to the 3D viewport. I'll navigate to my object data tab over here. I'm just going to ensure that the X and Y location is set to 0 and the X rotation is also set to 0. Maybe I'll set the Z location transform to 40 meters. And with my camera selected, I'm going to hit Shift S and I'll choose cursor to selected. I'll then select my speaker in the outliner. In my 3D viewport, I'm going to hit Shift S and I'll choose Selection to Cursor. So now my speaker has snapped to the camera. I'll then hold down Shift and left click select the camera. I'll hit Control P and I'll set parent to object keep transform. If I select my camera and hit G, you can see that the speaker follows it everywhere it goes. And now if I hit numpad 0 to go into camera view, I'll hit play. We should be able to hear the audio and see the effect that it's having on the geometry nodes object. Excellent. So the value on this multiply node, this controls how much impact the audio has on the system. So if I was to set this to 0.1 for example and hit play, you can see that the audio has very little impact. Whereas if I was to set this to 1 and then hit play, you can see that the audio has more impact. I'm going to keep mine set to 1. We'll add one more node to the system. So I'm going to box select these two nodes here. I'm going to hit G, bring this over to here. I'm going to take this multiply node, I'm going to hit Shift D to duplicate, and I'll pop this over here. I'll then change this from multiply to add, and I'll connect the Z socket into the top socket of the add node. And if you want the audio to drive different patterns, you'll connect this into this socket here, and then change the value to something random. And then if you hit play, you can see that the pattern is changing. I'm not going to do that, so I'm just going to disconnect that node. I'm going to keep mine like this. I'll hit Control Space to go into full screen, and that's the geometry node structure complete. I'll hit Control Space to exit full screen. I'll navigate to the top right of the geometry node editor until I see a crosshair. I'll left click, drag across, and open up a new window. I'll then change this from geometry node editor to shader editor. Before we continue, it's a good idea to save your project, so I'm going to go to File, Save As, and I'm going to save my project as like and subscribe. Thanks folks, you absolute legends. And then click Save As. I'll navigate to my render settings over here. I'm going to have mine set to EV. I may change this to cycles for the final. I've also got ray tracing enabled with a resolution of 1/1 and a screen tracing precision of 1. So I'll toggle on rendered view. I'll go to my outliner. I'm going to select my light. I'm going to hit delete. I'll navigate to my world tab over here, and I'm going to change the strength to 0. I'm going to select my geometry node object. I'll delete the principal BSDF. I'm going to hit Shift A. I'll go shader, and we'll choose emission, and we'll pop that there. Connect your emission socket to the surface of the material output. I'll also toggle off overlays. Shift A, we'll go color, and we'll choose color ramp, and we'll pop that there. I'll select the white flag, and I'll change the position to 0.3. I'll then connect the color socket from the color ramp into the color socket of the emission. Shift A, input, and we'll choose layer weight, and we'll pop that there. I'm going to connect the Fresnel socket into the factor of the color ramp. With the white flag selected, I'm going to click the plus button twice to add 2 flags. I'll then click the white socket one more time, and I'll hit the plus button one more time just to add another flag. For this last flag, I'm going to set this to green. For this next flag, I'm going to set this to yellow. For this next flag, I'm going to set this to red, maybe a bit on the pink tones, something around there. For this next flag, I'm going to set this to blue. I'll then hit Shift A, I'll go color, and we'll choose hue saturation value, and we'll pop that in between there. And if you remember, on our geometry nodes, we stored that attribute. I named mine Stay Sharp. So in the shader editor, I'm going to hit Shift A and search for attribute, and we'll pop that there. I can either type Stay Sharp in here, it has to be identical to this, or I can simply hover my cursor over the attribute, hit Control C to copy, and in my shader editor, I can hit Control V to paste that in there. I'll then connect the factor from the attribute node into the hue socket of the hue saturation value. I'll hit Shift A, we go Utilities, Math, and we'll choose Maths, and I'll pop that in between there. I'm going to change it from add to multiply, and I'm going to multiply it by 1. We've got a bit of a glitch going on here, and I suspect it's because I've got this set to point, when really this should be set to face. Okay, so we've got random colours there, excellent, and they should change with the music. It's a bit fast, so in my geometry node window, for this multiply node coming out of the separate XYZ, I'm going to change this value to 0.5. I'll just hit play. That should slow that down. If it's still too fast, we can tone this down by setting this to 0.5. But I'm going to keep it set to 1. Now I need to adjust these flags because I want some of these to fall into darkness. So I'm going to take this yellow flag, I'm going to drag this across, I'm going to take the red flag, I'll drag this across, I'll take the blue flag, and I'll do the same for the black flag. Maybe something around there. We can fine tune this in a minute. Next up, I want to be able to drive the strength using a layer weight. Hit Shift A, we go input, and we'll choose layer weight, and I'll pop that down here. I'll connect the Fresnel socket from the layer weight into the strength socket of the emission. I'm going to set the blend to 0.1. I'm going to take this multiply node, I'm going to hit Shift D to duplicate, and I'll pop that in between there. I'll then set the strength to 10. I'll now go back to this color ramp, and I'm just going to shimmy some of these flags about until I've got a result that I like. Okay, I'm kind of happy with that. I'll just hit F12 to render out a test frame. I'm going to close this window. I'll then navigate to my compositing tab up here. I'm going to click New. Shift A, we go Filter, and we'll choose Glare, and we'll pop that in between there. We'll change it from Streaks to Bloom. Maybe I can increase the glare to 0.75. I'll then navigate back to my layout view. I'm going to go to my render settings up here. I'll click this arrow, and I'll enable Compositor for the camera. Maybe I can drag this black flag back a bit. I'll just hit play to preview that. Okay, that's looking quite funky. So you might want to play around with those settings just to get a different result. I'll now navigate to my render tab up here. I'm going to change it from Eevee to Cycles. I'll toggle on Solid View. I'm going to toggle on Overlays. I'm just going to hit Shift C, and that will recenter my cursor to the center of the world. I'll then hit Shift A. I'm going to go Mesh. I'll add a plane. I'll tab into Edit Mode. I'm going to hit S25 to scale it up by 25. Tab out of Edit Mode. I'm going to hit Numpad 1 to go into Front View. I'm going to hit G, Z. I'm going to hold down Control, snap it to the grid, and I'm going to bring this down to around about there. In the shader editor, I'm going to click New, and I'll rename this to Ground Plane. I'll then hit Numpad 0 to go into Camera View. I'm just going to toggle into Rendered View. I'm going to set my roughness to 0. I'm going to set the base color to pure white, and I'm going to change it to metallic. And that just gives us additional free detail. So if I go to my outliner and I'll mute that plane, you can see the detail that it's adding. So I'm going to toggle on Material Preview. I'll then select this option here. I'm going to enable Scene Lights and Scene World. I'll then hit Ctrl S to save the project. And then it's simply a case of hitting Ctrl F12, and that will render out your image sequence. If you enjoyed this episode and you want to dive deeper into sound reactive geometry nodes, click the next video where I'll show you how to make a geometry node's sound reactive anemone. Stay sharp, have a great day, and level up.